Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Rebecca, it's Haitian Flag Day. I paid attention this morning. Vix is paying attention. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I obviously am not Benjamin Dixon. I am Anoa Changa filling in once again for Ben. Didn't realize I'd be back so soon, but it's good to be here with y'all again. I'm a little, I don't know if I'm a little sleepy or a little wired, but last night was a pretty large primary election night. 5 states had primary races. And, some folks sit out of primaries. They're just like, whatever, my vote doesn't really matter anyway. I'll show up and vote for, whoever, if they do show up and vote, right? Or people are understandably frustrated with the entire electoral process. However, we do know by some of the races last night, we do know from years past that every vote counts. Every vote actually does matter. Last I checked, I was literally up to 2 a.m. watching returns, trying to keep up from returns. And, by the time you get to the wee hours, it's very, very slow. It'll be refresh. No vote change, refresh, no vote change. So finally I went to sleep. But several different states, you had Kentucky, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Idaho, Oregon. Did I get those? Kentucky, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Idaho, Oregon. Yes, got them all. Having primary elections last night for the major parties, Republicans and Democrats, and those who caucus with either of those parties went to the polls in different primary races. I do believe, this is one I don't think I had on our radar, David, but I do believe that in Idaho, the current governor was able to basically stave off the challenge from his lieutenant governor. And I don't know if y'all had caught the news of the beef in Idaho. Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor, but they had probably the most beef within an administration across the pandemic. Right. So the Idaho governor on 1 or 2 occasions left the state. And, when the governor leaves the state, the lieutenant governor is often, acting in the acting capacity. That's probably how it is in most states. That's how it is in Idaho. So the lieutenant governor is this really far right. It's hard to call them far-right extremists when this is what's being normalized and becoming part of the mainstream part of the Republican Party in many instances, right? But anyway, she enacted these, these executive orders that forbid mask mandates. There were no mask mandates in Idaho when this was happening. Then she tried to do another executive order that forbid the ability to use vaccine mandates, et cetera. There were no vaccine mandates in Idaho when she was doing that. And then, when the governor came back, he had to completely undo them. She spoke at, one of those far right sponsored conferences alongside folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, really outlandish stuff, right? And we're seeing, more critique happening very clearly, not just on what people have ordinarily considered the fringe of the right, but the mainstream of the Republican Party that has allowed things like replacement theory, which I'm sure folks have talked about in regards to Buffalo already this week on the show. But it was really interesting to see that voters, at least in that instance, repudiated the more extreme of the two in their primary. And the Idaho governor seems to be on his way. So we'll see what happens in that race. Wasn't actually really one that was on my radar, but as we're seeing, these different candidates, now it might not matter to people, right? I don't live in Idaho. I don't got people in Idaho. Why do I care? It really does matter who is running states, whether we live in them or not, because some of the laws, some of the things that they can enact could actually impact us where we are, right? Or where our loved ones are, or what our opportunity looks like. And we should just care about the goodwill of other folks wherever they are. That's just my personal philosophy. So thinking, we had North Carolina, former North Carolina State Supreme Court Justice Sherry Beasley went into the primary as the presumptive Democratic nominee, and that was confirmed. She, sailed very quickly, easily in the evening to being the confirmed Democratic nominee. She is the first Black, not just first Black woman, but first Black, I believe, Supreme Democratic nominee for Senate from North Carolina. We also have Charles Booker in Kentucky. also cleared, and he wasn't running unopposed, I don't believe. But when I looked, I know I saw other folks on the returns. But he also cleared a pathway. And I really do think when we think about Charles Booker's really amazing run in 2020, right? Charles Booker made a valiant, amazing, strong push at the very end of that primary. The 2020 primary, that was COVID happening. So a lot of primaries got shifted around. There was a lot of confusion. And his campaign was very agile and adapted. And again, they came up a little short at the very end with all the different changes. People were getting locked out of the one main voting in person center. I think that was in Louisville, if I remember correctly. But Booker, with whether it's Hood to the Holler, organizing that he started to do during his campaign and continued with the actual organization Hood to the Holler, built the groundwork to set the stage for him to be the first Black nominee coming out of Kentucky. What I think is really important, and I think Charles Booker and Brother Booker, as other Senator Booker, Cory Booker calls him, I don't purport to speak for Brother Booker at all, but what I do believe is that I'm sure he would say that while it is important to have his representation going into this matchup against Rand Paul, right, and not just his representation as a Black father, as someone who struggled in terms of the medical system, there's so many intersections of his identity, and we use that phraseology, but I really do think there's something powerful with this crop of Black and other folks of color working class candidates that we had that are really taking on the machine in several different cases. And so while there wasn't a machine in this race, Charles Booker's, like I said, his very valiant run against the chosen, disappointing candidacy of Amy McGrath. Folks were trying to say from a long shot, as much as y'all thought that she was going to be, the Grim Reaper, it wasn't happening. And it didn't happen. And it was a super expensive win. So folks need to give Charles Booker their coins. If you gave money to Amy McGrath, you damn sure better be giving them to Charles Booker and helping Kentuckians do what needs to be done and sending someone like that to the states, the U.S. Senate. That is not me, campaigning for the brother. That's just facts, right? If you was out here throwing your coins at what was very, very clearly a lost cause with Amy McGrath, who really had nothing of substance to offer except for she was Republican light, which is a strategy that has failed Democrats for, I don't know, how what decade is this? And we see that happening, in multiple different states as well. On the Republican side, obviously, Senator Rand Paul is the nominee. No one's running against him. And it'd just be really interesting to see the way in which Booker is able to expand and build, and whether or not the DSCC or other national organizations who will show up on the ground for Kentuckians for, some of these areas. They lament states and decisions that are ending abortion, that are attacking voting rights. Even though Kentucky has a Democratic governor, it has a Republican AG that actually maybe have committed an ethics violation by trying to open an investigation against the governor when he's planning on running against him, which is actually like an ethics rule they have. So it's just really interesting to see how Democrats nationally do decide to invest in some of these races. Now, when we look at on the Republican side, some of these races, and it's really interesting. The one that caught my eye the most, obviously people have been paying attention to the PA Senate, but I think the Pennsylvania gubernatorial race is actually a very fascinating one, in the sense that AG Josh Shapiro will be the Democratic nominee for governor. But on the Republican side, you have a Trump-supported big lie proponent who actually tried to overturn the Pennsylvania elections, as the Doug Mastriano is not only the front runner, he is now the GOP nominee for governor in Pennsylvania. Now, one of the good things about Pennsylvania is that you had a really strong turnout, right? And when you look at the total number of Democrats voting compared to the total number of Republicans. So when you look at the Senate race, when you look at the gubernatorial race, really at all these different races, there are several different congressional races and state house races, down ballot races, down all the way the ballot absolutely matters. there's so much that was happening, and, building on that momentum and really building a broad case. It's going to be interesting to see how, Shapiro, who has run and won statewide, like I said, he is the AG. What's also really important about Pennsylvania in particular, out of all of these states, is that they do not elect their Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is actually appointed in Pennsylvania, and I believe in New Jersey and a couple other states, by the governor. So I think Florida is another state. I mean, I know that DeSantis just appointed someone new as Secretary of State. So in Pennsylvania, whoever wins this election will appoint the Secretary of State that will be in charge of administering elections come 2024, as well as whatever elections may happen in 2023. But the 2024 presidential election cycle, those primaries, that process, vote by mail rules, all of that will be overseen by the person that is nominated by the winner of this. And having someone who not only ascribed to the big lie, but gave it its full-throated support, that is really actually disconcerting for those who care to claim about democracy and fairness. I had an opportunity to actually do a conversation with the current acting Secretary of State. It's actually Secretary of the Commonwealth in PA, since PA is a Commonwealth, but the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And we talked about just how there were nearly 36, I think it was over 30 lawsuits coming after the 2020 election, all frivolous, all thrown out, all upheld that the 2020 election was absolutely fair. This has been, consistently across the board. But you have candidates like this that are pushing forward across multiple different races around the country and in positions that could definitely have an impact on elections going forward. So I do know that we can, sometimes the process can absolutely frustrate us, but our ability to even choose, like I explained to my son when he was trying to decide whether he was going to vote or not, right? At least register, at least decide that if you want to be a part of the process, you can. If you don't even take those initial steps, you can't even participate. You don't even have an opportunity to be engaged and involved, right? And so I personally firmly believe that when we're looking at these people who they're not just like, oh, both sides are the same. This is a situation where both sides are absolutely not the same. You have one side that is absolutely trying to undermine free and fair elections, our ability to engage in this democracy. Not saying that Democrats have not themselves, because I'm going to get to, if we got time, I might get to what's going on. We might get a little time. I might get to what's happening in New York, or we might say that for tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow too. But so it's not saying that Democrats themselves do not have shenanigans and foolishness when it comes to voting, but when we're looking at the egregious level of what is happening with Republican candidates and the way in which they are doubling down and racing to the bottom, it is very alarming. And so that brings me to the Pennsylvania Senate race. Big John Fetterman knocked out the park, literally took, when you look at the map, and you know how when you look at those maps of like these races, the different candidates will have different colors. John Fetterman's color was purple, I think on the New York Times map, and the whole state was purple. Bruh dominated everywhere. I mean, he seems to have been pretty popular as lieutenant governor. Folks may have different issues with him, but his campaign solidly got out there. People who were Connor Lamb, when you look at the final numbers, did not have a chance to stop him. And Malcolm Kenyatta, State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta was, quite a bit behind as well, but still, gave a valiant effort in his final push. But it's really interesting to see like how these different, there was the idea that possibly folks could switch to Lamb or Kenyatta in, this final stretch, because Fetterman did recently have a stroke. I believe he recently just had a pacemaker installed. And I know on social it said that he was, he had the all clear. So, definitely wishing him the best of health as he goes into this general election cycle. And it looks like Pennsylvania is actually really in a really strong position to pick up another seat. Now, we all know, though, that strong position or not, that is definitely ground that could be lost if folks are not making sure they're building the broadest coalition possible and they're out there engaging, supporting voters. And I know there has been concerns that different folks have raised about an incident in particular in the past with with Fetterman pulling a gun on, I believe, was a black jogger. And there seems to be some chatter about whether or not that person actually even maybe voted for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how and if that actually plays in the race going forward. It also depends upon who his actual opponent is. As of, I think right before I checked, Dr. Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, oh God bless Oprah and all that she's freaked on us with all these interesting people. Anyway, but Dr. Oz was up by approximately 2,000 votes, I believe it was. I was eyeballing, so forgive my math. Dr. Oz was up. He pulled up very, very early in the wee hours. And, very tight race right there still, but still has not been called. So we'll see what happens in terms of what this Senate matchup looks like. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, all across the board. But Dr. Oz was backed also by the gubernatorial candidate, as well as Dr. Oz, both backed by Trump. I mean, Trump, throwing his weight in where he can just because he can. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like on the ballot. The race that I'm super excited to talk about. Oh, so this makes me so. I know it hasn't been called yet, but State Representative Summerlee. I first met Summerlee, who was running in Pennsylvania's 12th congressional district, who was running against multi-million-dollar smear campaigns, who was running against an establishment-backed candidate. But what folks don't understand about Summer, that's literally what Summer has been doing ever since she first ran in 2018. I first met Summer in 2018. And I was just impressed by this young woman. I'm several years older than her. She was I think a more recent-ish graduate of Howard Law School. Shout out to Bison's. I was just so impressed with her and her composure. She had just did this amazing thing, and she was so down to earth. She was so chill. It was like, wow, you're about to be like this little progressive star on the rise. And she was just like, I'm still just Summer Lee. And so we kept in touch over the years. And, I would always check in with her just to learn more because I was really impressed by the way she was building in her little corner of the world in Allegheny County, Western Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, that area is not far from where I spent some of my time in Morgantown, West Virginia. If you wanted to go to the big city, you went to Pittsburgh. So it was just really interesting listening to her and, how they were growing, how they were building. And she unseated an incumbent in 2018. He tried, remember we were sitting having, I think, breakfast, and she was telling me about how he tried to claim that she wasn't actually a resident because she had been away at school. That's not really how residency works with kids in college, law school, et cetera. That's not how it works. So they were trying anything and everything. 2020 comes around. She's running for re-election. She's the incumbent now. Generally, Democrats have this incumbent protection policy, right? But no, she was the only incumbent in the Allegheny County delegation that did not have the path cleared for her. She was the only one that had a challenger, and the party actually worked against her to try to replace her with the challenger. So she just, continued with the coalition that she kept building and grinding with, and whooped all of them too. So here we are, 2022. She's running for Congress. There's an even bigger coalition working against her. And, Summer Lee does what Summer Lee does and has some of the best and brightest people on the ground in Pittsburgh, in Allegheny County, in that region, as well as, other folks supporting her around the state and the national folks. Because, I see a lot of national folks really excited. I'm a national person that's really excited and patting themselves on the back for what they might have done. But let's be clear that if and when, and it's most likely when, it is absolutely confirmed that Summer, because there were several thousand votes still when I checked at 2 a.m. and I checked again at 8 a.m. and it hadn't really budged any. Summer was up by around 500 votes. It was very tight. At one moment, it was approximately 47 vote race. So it's very impressive to see what is happening and what she herself is able to do. And I'm in awe at the way in which people are building coalitions. A lot of people talk about building people power movement, right? That was some language people picked up from Bernie. Everyone who runs as a Bernie crowd or a progressive candidate, they always use this language. Summer's actually doing it. Another candidate I want to give a shout out to is Attica Scott, State Rep Attica Scott, who ran in Kentucky's 3rd congressional district. Although that race did not turn out as, strong or how, I think some folks would have liked, Attica included. That is another person that I have watched over the last several years since 2016, building a community, building a coalition, and finding that support. And somehow, when we're talking about building the machine and countering, what are these, very well moneyed operations to stifle progressive voices, particularly Black and other people of color voices. Because when you look at several different races last night and the amount of money spent by, groups like AIPACs, the PAC are connected to AIPAC and other organizations that are, pro-Israel PACs, like, there was a lot. There were millions upon millions of dollars spent to deny working class Black and other women of color entry into that dome in DC. And when what we know is that the status quo will do whatever it can, however it can, no matter what values it claims to have on Monday, it will stomp you in the ground on Tuesday if it means that is what's going to uphold its ground. So I'm very impressed to see, like I said, most likely win. Summer is confirmed the winner, but it's probably not over even with the final count. I don't know if we have any video from Summer speaking last night, but I would love to share a little clip.
I'm trying to get it to Dwayne, but it didn't make it into the folder, unfortunately. Yeah.
It does not. It's totally okay. I probably actually could pull it up on Twitter and play it in the microphone myself. But basically, one thing that really grabbed me is that her whole speech last night, she declared victory shortly after midnight. So I still stayed up. Like, she declared victory. They were up by about, I think it was like 500 and some odd votes or so. Like I said, I'm eyeballing because it's late at night. She got an email and was like, yep, Summer declares victory. I was like, oh, okay. But looking at how many votes are outstanding, looking at where the ballot drops were coming in, I'm guessing that her team was figuring out, I know her campaign manager, Annie, as well. And so, it just seemed like they had a good sense of where the votes would be coming in from. And so to explain to people who might not understand that, when you're running an election, when you're running a campaign and you're doing it well, you have a sense on what your numbers are, right? You have a sense on where the numbers are coming in from. If you have people, because in some places they might do like tally tolls at the polls. So you might have folks like going to different polls, getting the final tally. So you got people in your war room crunching numbers. So you have a sense of how things are shaking out. You have a sense of what's possible, right? This is at multiple different levels. Maybe, lower level candidates are not able always to do this, but definitely when you're talking about a congressional race, Senate race, presidential, et cetera, what's shaking out and how things are happening. So when I say they knew where votes was coming from, that's not no funny business. That's just the way in which people who actually understand about running field and running campaigns do things. And so, one of the things I would really, what was fascinating is just watching Summer talk about the community, watching Summer talk about this coalition as she's speaking to this very diverse room. Now, you had people trying to paint her as divisive. You had people trying to paint her as anti-Semitic, all types of stuff, right? Like, literally, she spoke with Zerlina Maxwell back in, I think it was the end of March, about a video clip of Steve Irwin, who was her major competitor, just talking about how he's watched her work. He allegedly was a supporter of hers. I actually spoke to her about that specifically, and she was like, we can't find any evidence of him, quote unquote, supporting me, unless he supported her in his mind, which we don't have any evidence of that. There's no evidence from what she told me of donations or anything like that as well. And so what was really interesting, though, is one thing she said in her response to his basically minimizing the impact of the first Black, and I believe actually Summer's the first Black woman elected to Congress from Pennsylvania. I need to double check that, but I believe not just Western Pennsylvania, but from Pennsylvania. And so, or she will be. And so, she is, like a lot of people, like representation, like me sitting here talking to you about politics as a Black woman informed through the lens from my radical Black parents absolutely matters. That representation and my presence in these spaces absolutely matters. But that is not the end all be all. It is also the value and what else is being brought to the conversation. right? And so when Summer is speaking to this diverse group of people, and she's talking about, when they tell you Black women can't win, when they tell you that we can't build a multiracial, multi-generational, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was a really great speech. If someone can actually drop, there's a Twitter link, and I also wrote an article about it. Folks can drop it in the chat so people can check it out. But it was a really powerful speech, and she really just spoke to the core issues. She also spoke about how you can run on values and win. So you can run on values like, being pro environment, clean air, clean water. You can run on, being for Medicare for all. You can run on being positive on educational values and things like that. So you can run on critical issues that matter. She's very, very vocal and very, very strong-willed. And folks may think like, oh, well, they're both Democrats. What's the big deal? This is basically the general election. Like this primaries like this are the general. This is where, even though they still technically have a general election, like it's an overwhelmingly Democratic district, the person who wins this race, they can't pull no funny stuff like the Buffalo mayor, because ain't nobody got rules like that down in Pennsylvania. But this is what it is, plain and simple, right? And so when you have someone like Summer, even though it's not a flip in terms of red to blue, it is a flip in terms of a more centrist, yes, they may have voted. I think it was Mike Doyle, who's the retiring congressman for this area. Yes, he may have voted the right way on certain things. But when you have someone like a Summer who goes in there and adds the power with a Cori Bush and a Jamal Bowen and a Ayanna Pressley, Summer had the backing of, I think, almost the entire, if not the entire Congressional Progressive Caucus. Like she really pulled together a strong national. And do we have audio too, or just the video? Yeah. And she's not very tall, right? Like we're both probably around 5'3" ish. Sorry, girl, for throwing out height and stuff. But she has this power and presence that really just motivates and engages people. But what I've watched from Summer is that as fierce of an advocate as she is, she's still willing to listen. She's still willing to consider, and she's just not going to jump out there just because of anything. And that's what I appreciate about her the most. And that's why I think she was able to pull in. She pulled in support from groups like Emily's List, Hire's Height, the Working Families Party. She had a broad coalition of support, right? I think, don't quote me on this because I was up really, really late last night. I think she might have had support from like J Street. She had a whole mixture of organizations that supported her candidacy. Sunrise campaign, like a Sunrise movement, a lot of different folks came together. So I really do think that what we need to do is not just try to duplicate what we think we're seeing on social media with these types of campaigns, but also understanding that Summer's likely win in 2022 is built on the foundational support of Summer's win from 2018. Right. And how we have this we have to think the long game. You might lose that one cycle, but this also goes for people who support candidates. And I know when we're talking about individual dollar contributors, it can be tough. We don't always necessarily have them dollars, to be stretching and just throwing around. And so we really make it count. But when you're an organization, you need to be committed to investing people for the long haul, because it takes a lot to flip. It takes a lot to run up against the machine. And we need to be very clear on what the value, mission, and supports are. So it's probably why Justice Dems, kind of narrowed some of their focus with some of these races and focused on maybe some races and not others. Who knows? There's a calculus to all this. We might not like it, but unfortunately, we're working up against a really huge juggernaut in some areas. And regardless of what the final outcome is, even though it more than likely is probably going to finally shake out in Summer's way, they seem very sure of it at least. I'm very proud to have watched the evolution of, her candidacy. Now in Pennsylvania, she was also able still to run. This is fascinating. She was also able still to run for her reelection for her current seat. So even if Summer did not advance as Congresswoman, she would still be, I believe, if I understood this correctly, state representative. And the same with Malcolm Kenyatta. Malcolm Kenyatta does not lose his, I believe when I was looking at results last night, he was still reelected as state representative as well. Interesting snafu. So you can run for multiple positions if you're already in one in Pennsylvania, but you can't be a sore loser and try and jump into a race after the fact like the mayor of Buffalo did. Boom. So this has been another episode of I'm petty. I'm purposefully petty, y'all. So this is another episode of
I love it.
The Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I'm going to kick it back over to the team. And I think Ben might be coming in, even though he had me in early morning. So I might stick around for a few minutes to chop it on with Big Ben.
Shout out to Noah. Good morning, Noah. Good morning, everybody. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. It's James Love Williams. DJ Exclusive is in the building. Shout out again to Noah Tonka for filling in here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Y'all stay tuned. On the Clock is coming up next. We still here? Okay. I was making sure. I'm like, oh God, did I lose everybody? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Juanita, Jason Dickcraft. What's going on, Snack Panther? Shay, good morning. Ben Cycle, Roy in the W, Kitty Muse, good morning. Rhonda Smith, Jessica Marrow, Melanie Dennis, good morning. Shout out Roller Dragon, what's going on, Roller? Good morning, Mama and Daddy. I know y'all listening. Good morning to y'all. Mary C. T. Twitty, good morning. Brother Lateef, what's going on, Lateef? Good morning to you, sir. Malaya, good morning, Malaya. Brandon Edie, good morning. Rhonda Smith, Craig Can Be X, Marshall Reese, good morning, Mara. Anna Hart, good morning. Boondocks Dragon, good morning. Laser Sword, Promise Pested. Good morning, y'all. Shelby H, what's going on? We never get weaker. Ryan Foreman, good morning. Nicole Howell, good morning. Hollywood singing. Hollywood, come on with you. Good morning to you. Anna Hart. Struth the Dragon, good morning, Struth. I hope you're feeling better. I'm missing best things in life for free. It's what you get from me, baby. Royna W, good morning, Royna. Iris Jones, Ear Hustler, Frosty 100, good morning, y'all. Shelby H, congratulations. Shelby H finished law school over the weekend. Shelby H, congratulations to you. Iris Jones, not
and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that
Turn
every
to the
loss
guy
may
in
lead
the
to
Twitch.
another win.
I
I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gon' tell me it's luck again. See that I'm winning, it's harder to watch. I'm setting the stage, you should give me my props. You ain't got a soul, you lacking the spirit. You talk out your neck, I'ma show you I'm with it. I would really hate for you to sit and watch me win again and win again and win again. I know it's probably getting on me and win a synonym. So if I ever win again, there's nobody the minimum. I didn't have to sell my soul. Oh, yeah. Please don't play no games with me. It was never about the fame to me. They needed the best, so they came to me. Whoa. Who the best in this thing? Tell them, yeah, that's me. Tell them, who bring the vibe? Say, yeah, that's me. Who make it flip, make it bang? Ooh, yeah, that's me. Who make the party feel alive? Tell them, yeah, that's me. My girl so proud of your boy when they ask, is that your man? Yeah, that's me. And if I'm taking a shot, I don't miss. Who knew I would be?
All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Leatherhat, good morning to you. Shout out for you calling in yesterday. Appreciate you, Leatherhat. But y'all know what time it is. We are now on the clock. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning and welcome to On the Clock. I am Benjamin Dixon, here with my sister from another Mr. Anoa Chunga and my brother from another mother, DJ Exclusive. Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Anoa, thank you for filling in and doing what you do, and you've done it for the last week and a few days. And James, you've been holding it down. I have a minor confession. This is a two-part confession. The first one I'll give now, the other one I'll give during the next patron party. But the truth is that there's just so much that happened over this past weekend. Have you ever, and before we get to our interview, I just want to ask Noah this, and James, you the same thing. Have you guys gotten to the point in this work that we do where you almost just can't even talk about the news anymore? Like, we see what happened in Buffalo. We see what's happening all over the country, but Buffalo kind of broke me, and I needed to take a step back because I didn't want to say anything reckless or irresponsible on air. So, one, thank you all for holding down on that regard, but I also just want to put emphasis on the fact that while we are so used in this country to moving very quickly past news cycles, there's still a lot of people who are hurting this morning. A lot of people who are reeling in the aftermath of this white domestic terrorism that we're living in. And so I know we're starting a little bit heavy this morning, but I haven't had a chance to speak about it since I've been away for so long. But I'd be remiss if I didn't just stop and pause and just reflect and consider the lives of those, all those 10 people who lost their lives at that grocery store after a white supremacist loaded up his car and drove 3.5 hours away to intentionally target Black people. And I'm just kind of at the point of Noah where I need them to understand they better be glad most of us want peace, because they're really pushing us to a point of doing what we must do to protect our tribe, to secure the tribe. So I want to pause there and toss it to you, Noah.
Yeah, when I saw the news break, because I'm weekend editor at News One, so it's my job to cover it where I want to or not. But when I saw the news break, as my supervisor texted me, he's like, I don't know if you saw the news, but I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where it's at. Because on a personal note, that my kids, like, that's their dad's side of the family. Like, that's their neighborhood. His grandma lives literally a couple blocks from that supermarket. That's her Tops. That's the Tops when we used to go up there. That's when we used to go to, right? And we know because of him, we know a lot of other people as well. So that was my first personal, like, my heart dropped. I'm like, what if Gigi is shopping today? Like, so I'm texting him, I'm texting the kids, I'm telling them, like, you need to check on your family because this just happened, first off, right? And then also trying to get a sense of what's going on because, there was the one picture of the dude, but we weren't sure exactly what it was. So trying to confirm also. So, like, that's the split mind I had because this is horrific. Yeah. The number kept going up. So I also paused. My supervisor and I are talking through this because I also paused because at first it was like 8 people, then it was like 10, and then we weren't sure if there was going to be more people, right? But I don't think any single piece of coverage or any single person could have covered this whole thing entirely. And I think what you're saying is right, Ben. Like, we should not move past these instances so quickly just because something else happened. I know, like, the very next day there was the shooting at the church targeting, I believe, was Taiwanese parishioners out in California, right? So there is always something going on, but at the very at the same time, we do need to be able to figure out how to process. And if that means stepping away, it is not wrong to turn away. I try my best to find time. Like I've talked about this. I don't know if y'all pay attention when I talk about it on social media. I love K-dramas. So I have my way, my escape, my moments and spaces for joy. And my kids are being really nice people these days. They're 18 and 20. So my son is very happy because he drives now. He has his license. He got his license Friday. So I'm
praying for you.
I mean, yeah, I pray for me too. Oh my God. But I just try to find joy in these spaces. And then also I think even though these are horrific things that we're talking about sometimes, are we adding value, right, to the conversation? Right, are we helping people see a way forward? And that's something I think, Ben, we talked about, especially when y'all helped me come up with the name of the show, The Way with Noah, right? When we talked about like, how do we move forward? What is the way? It's hard though, sometimes to be optimistic and do that. And so I think it's absolutely fine when we have to like take that step back and breathe. I think that, taking a step back and not actually doing a regular show. That was something that was really hard for me. Taking a step back and no longer doing my show, but we got to do what we got to do sometimes to like also protect home and protect ourselves, because we're not good to anyone if we're not doing that. So
that's right.
But Buffalo was jarring. Especially the kindness and consideration of this kid. And I'm going to call him a kid. I understand that a lot of people are flustered because Michael Brown was not referred to as a kid in 2014. He's an 18-year-old. That doesn't mean he's not responsible for what he did. That doesn't mean that he did not have the logical thought process for what he did. But I also have an 18-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not in a rush for the world to be calling my 18-year-old a grown-ass man, because he's not.
I dig that.
So I know that might be controversial for some people, and I'm not trying to exculpate, him or not, but an 18-year-old is still a kid. That doesn't mean he can't be held responsible. He absolutely can be held responsible. He absolutely, whether he knew what he was doing or not. I mean, quite honestly, I say, look at the parents. Well, where are the parents? Right. Where are the grandparents? Right. What was his family doing? Question. How do you my son, has had his stuff too during the pandemic.
I was going to ask,
murdering people.
And that part, right? That part, we are all have gone through, are going through, continuously going through. And that's the other thing. Like, I don't want to pivot too hard away from the memory of everyone who was killed. And James, I was going to thank you for doing what you did, right? Because we wanted to give space to people to just express themselves in this moment. And but to not get too far away from that, that's the thing, Noah. It's like, it's frustrating, because there's so much tied up into the conversation, and they've already moved past the fact that these people are dead, right? There's the politics of it. There's the games. There's the propaganda. You got everybody's trying to find positioning, and there's just this casual disregard for life. And that's why I wanted James to do I want to do it more. Like, we got to focus on, we got to find our own joy and protect it. Because this world is steadily after it.
When I first tuned back in after, Ben and I made up, and I first tuned back in and I saw that DJ Exclusive, that James is in the mix, and I was like, oh, this is really a cool idea. The music, because we had tried to do something called Politics and Careers back in the day with some really low budget stuff, because, we was broke and operating on shoestring budget. But I was like, this is really amazing. I love music, got somebody with some personality up in here spinning and doing some stuff. Like, this is great.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I think it adds a nice atmosphere, ambiance, as much as you can to a virtual conversation, right? And breaking up some of the very heavy stuff that is being discussed at times. So I just want to give, James, DJ Extraordinaire. I know DJ Extraordinaire is not your name, but I'm calling you DJ Extraordinaire. Props as well, because I definitely appreciate the mood setting.
Yeah. No.
I appreciate y'all. I definitely do. And it was fun doing it yesterday, to not cover it, because just like y'all, when everything happened, it was just like, damn. They still killing us. It's like, why do they want to kill us so bad? Shed my tears, and I'm just like, all right, but I got to stay strong because we're gonna have to deliver this. So I was expecting actually somebody to call and say, hey, we're gonna get on Monday and do a run through. I was expecting it, so I'm glad that didn't happen because I don't know if I would have been ready. So yesterday I'm like, all right, let's talk to the people. Let's listen in and let's break up the monotony of sharing some of this stuff because you keep looking at it on the news and seeing all the coverage and seeing the victims and everything is not going to make it any better. So let's break it up a little bit and just let's give back to the people. Let them express themselves a little bit and listen to some music and have some great conversations about not what's happening in the world, but something else other, just to change up the scenery some.
No, I mean, absolutely all day. And I'm going to lean into that a whole lot more as we get past the 2022 midterms. We're going to keep everyone's feet to the fire between now and the midterms. But afterwards, I think we need to just focus on Black life, culture, politics. Yeah, we're never going to put the politics down. But at the same time, it's just too critical for us to just leave it to what the news cycle gives us. If all we do is feed ourselves with what mainstream media gives us or what any media gives us for Black people, but not necessarily owned or controlled by Black people, it leaves a lot to be desired. So here's the last thing I'll say about this. The difference. A lot of people did ask why we didn't cover, not a lot. I had a couple of messages about why we weren't covering the shooting. And I remember the Mother Emanuel AME shooting. And that was really at the beginning of my work. I don't know if you remember the orange room when I was in the room with the orange background. And what I remember in that moment was covering it. I remember we covered it that night. As soon as the news broke, I got word, I got information, and we went live that night. And we had hundreds of people watching, and we were talking about it. And it was necessary. But I also realized that doing that work just keeps you constantly absorbing it without absorbing it. You're looking at it, you're talking about it. You're getting angry about it, but you don't have time to process it. And I kind of learned that after the Mother Emanuel AME. Here's the sad thing about it, y'all, is these white supremacists keep giving us examples to compare. That's the last part. And I didn't want to get on the show also, James, because I didn't want to get on here with no toxic masculinity and bravado. But they cannot expect us to keep taking this. They cannot expect us to keep taking this and looking to a government that does not care to protect us. They don't even care to give us our right to vote or to protect our right to vote. I'm not feeling any motion around the George Floyd Justice and Reform Act. There's no motion behind that. And so we're simultaneously not getting any action from our leaders, but we're getting gunned down by these white so-called supremacists. And my question to America is, how do they expect Black people to react? How do they expect us to respond? And how would they respond? And how would they react as a people, not collectively in violence, but as a people? What do they expect us to do? Continue to sit and take this lying down? That's not how it works. So that's my thoughts.
I just want to add to Mother Emanuel, Tree of Life Synagogue, Charlottesville. This is the 5th anniversary of Charlottesville coming up this year, right, in August. Wow. And they're still dealing with the remnants of fighting over that Robert E. Lee statue too, right? Wow. So we have communities all across the country. I mean, New Zealand internationally, right? Christchurch. You have communities across the country that have been dealing with increase in hate attacks. You've had communities that have been dealing with increased presence of open brandishing white supremacists, whether they're with tiki torches on, the main strip, or they are running for office and trying to overthrow elections. There is a constant onslaught that is happening. And it can be very challenging on top of everything else, the economic stuff, the pandemic, just personal, regular, schmegular relationship, life, work, family, right? So it's so much happening all at once. But I think, to y'all's point, finding that grounding, finding where our peace is, finding, moments and opportunities for joy. It is, and I know it can be difficult. I know it can be difficult, particularly if there is so much that's not going right. It can be a real challenge, but trying to figure out what is that one sliver. And like for me, it often is escape and binge watching shows. Now it's, also hiking with the puppers, but it's been a lot of it's K-dramas and sci-fi.
What have we been? I only have you for a few more minutes, Noah. When you say binge watching, and we're waiting for our guests. But what are you watching right now on is anybody watching Star Trek?
Okay, so I need to watch the final episode of Halo, but my son was like, yo, Halo, there's a show Halo, right?
Yeah.
I said,
yeah.
Say less. I need to actually watch the new Star Trek show. I had started watching Discovery, and then I did it. I had so much going on. I could not. I was season 4 of Discovery, and I had so much going on that I could not finish it. Quite honestly, when we talk about depression and loss, I was really upset when they murdered the whole planet of Qui-Gon in the very beginning of the series. I really did not feel like we needed the series to launch with the destruction of this Black man's entire race of people and family. I don't know, that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Wow.
I love Discovery so much. I love Book. And I was so devastated for Book and his sweet little nephew and his brother that it took me a while to be able to really power through the rest of that. So I'm finishing up Discovery season 4. Okay. I do know about the spoiler at the end because I saw it on Twitter.
Don't tell me about it because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So
about
I don't know if you saw it on social media. It's because it was already on social media, but that was really exciting. But and then in terms of, I have my K-dramas that I watch. I just finished watching Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha not too long ago. See, this is the only reason why Netflix still got me paying their exorbitant prices, because Netflix has some of my K-dramas that aren't anywhere else yet. But my daddy said he's going to hook me up with something. Again, if you listening and you the people, I'm not telling you who my daddy is and where he's at. But because if he can do that, then I can get unplugged from Netflix.
You ain't good company, Noah. You ain't good company. I give out my Netflix passwords. I don't care. I ain't got no
but so here's the thing though, right? Netflix is on my nerves about this password sharing stuff because I'm paying for 4 screens. It should not matter where them 4 screens are at. Matter.
Hello, somebody. And 4K and HD streaming.
Yes, if I'm paying for all this extra BS because you're making me pay for stuff I don't even need or want to get these 4 screens. That's the only reason why we have 4 screens. And if I want to put we're getting to the age where we have elderly aging parents too. Some of them might be on fixed incomes. If I want to give my stepdaddy who's on a fixed income my Netflix password, I should be able to do that. He's a part of my family. He is my father. Or if my child who is my child who I birthed wants the Netflix password, I should be able to give them, and if my neighbor down the street who I say hi to wants my Netflix password, if I'm paying for 4 damn screens and they using my 4th screen, that's all that matters. And ain't no other platform. All the other platforms are way cheaper. They got better movie selections at this point in time. Hulu's still only $6.99, and they got Abbott Elementary. What do y'all got? Friends? I don't know.
There it is. Oh Lord!
It's $200 million on that Ryan Reynolds movie or whatever, and they laying off all these people. Talking about some of the subscriber count is down. Y'all keep raising your prices ridiculously. And the only reason why I continue to pay for Netflix right now is they come out with some really good. They come out with some really good.
They do have some pretty good stuff.
Some of the international and original programming that's available to us in the US. That's literally what gets me. If I find a workaround for that, I'm gone.
What are you binging, James?
Man, I'm on so many different things all over the places. What was it? Moon Knight on Disney Plus, which is over now.
Okay.
Halo, Picard, which was really good because Picard plays just like Star Trek Next Generations. Haven't watched Strange New Worlds yet, but everyone is raving over Strange New Worlds. Haven't seen Discovery. Anything Marvel that comes out, I'm ready because She-Hulk trailer dropped yesterday and Miss Marvel comes out at the end of this month, so I'm ready.
This is the blurred segment. I didn't realize everybody on the screen loves Star Trek. I am into, I just started Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And I will say, James, it is actually really good. Whoever told you it was good, they weren't lying. It's got a real
forward to it. I'm actually fascinated on the idea of the Captain Pike years. We get a little glimpse. We actually get no glimpse, right? We know of Captain Pike in passing from the original series. And we see him some, through Discovery. But I'm actually really, really excited to see what could have been had they went with Captain Pike versus, Captain Pike was the captain. For those who might not be familiar, Captain Pike was the captain of the Enterprise in the 10-year period when Spock was first on the Enterprise and before James C. Kirk becomes captain.
Right. Yeah.
In the TV series, not in the newer movies, because that just completely does what it wants to do.
The other movies, they went off the rails. The movie. They did. You throw time travel into a story, and anything can happen. So there you go.
Another thing that made me make my heart break: Spock having to watch Vulcan be destroyed. Like, I just not into whole planet destruction.
Yeah.
The whole planet, not only the whole planet, but his mama as well too. Going down. His
mama, like he literally lost his mama. He couldn't grab his mama's hand like that. Whew, like Spock already had issues about having a human mama, and then he couldn't save his human mama, and he probably couldn't grieve properly because he's supposed to be Vulcan like his daddy. Like,
Vulcans are some sociopaths, though. I have to. Vulcans are dead ass sociopaths. I've been trying to live I've been trying to. Controlling your emotions is one thing, but to that level, there's just a level of craziness that they come out in some of you have to read some of the novels. If you read the novels, they kind of go into some of the depth of the derangement that can come as a result of their ties to being so logical. So go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
Well, I was about to say, you think Vulcans are illogical, are sociopaths? I mean, I was about to say that's the Romulans, because them motherfuckers. Romulans was like, my gosh, what made you so?
I mean, I think that's like the difference between sociopath and psychopath, right? Okay, forgive us, everybody, because no one up here is an expert. But to your point, Ben, though, I was rewatching Discovery. I'm in the 7th season, and there is a Vulcan captain that I guess that Captain. That is my favorite person. I'm blanking on his name. Avery Brooks. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
This is so bad. Captain Sisko.
Benjamin
there we go. The Sisko. So Captain Sisko apparently has this rivalry with this Vulcan from back in the day when he was in middle school. And there's a whole episode about them, the two teams, his crew versus crew playing baseball, because the dude taught his Vulcan crew how to play baseball, become beasts at baseball, just so he can go challenge Sisko to a baseball game, because he just has been wanting to have this rivalry to one up him ever since they were kids. And it's but dude, you a Vulcan, how you so petty? Petty is emotion. I'm petty, but my petty is purposeful. Your petty is just ridiculous.
My petty is purposeful.
It is.
There's meaning. There's meaning to my pettiness. So long as you have purpose.
Petty with a purpose is okay.
Yeah.
Petty with a purpose is okay. Sake is not okay.
But listen, I'm loving this. And it's funny you slid that in there. Maybe one day we'll tell. We're not going to tell the whole story, but you slid it in there that we haven't got to hang out in a while. But we've had beef at 2 different points in time. I'm sure there's video footage somewhere of us talking about this before. There was a podcast of us arguing.
Black Luke and Leia had 2 major blow-ups. And literally, I do not know you. You do not exist ever in life. James, I will not speak to you.
Bro, you should have seen us fighting on air. We weren't even in the same city, but you would have thought we were in the same room. We were going down.
Shout out to Brandon Sutton.
Oh, no, we actually had 3 blow-ups because we fought in D.C. during the inauguration.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking about.
In 2017.
2017,
so there was that one. We're sitting in an Airbnb literally across the table, and poor Michael Salomon.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Salomon. He was there too. Oh man, no, those are some good days. But now, no, we get to hang out now that we're friends. We never stopped being friends, though. We just stopped doing business together for a little while. But
we did stop being friends for a while, but it's okay. It's a Gemini thing, and we get past it and we grow. So here we are.
Anyway, listen, David, you got to show me, navigate for me, because I don't have any of my information in front of me. How are we on the time? And we're going to go to a break, I know, in a minute, and get geared up for Like It or Not. That's going down. Rebecca Zor is going to join us. And again, Noah, thank you so much for hanging out for the last couple of days. Couldn't have done it without you. I needed to get away and get some things set up. And please, I won't bother you for the rest of the week. I'm gonna find a way to get myself back tomorrow so you could get you can get some rest. So thank you.
Well, I want to come back tomorrow though to talk about the shenanigans in New York because the DCCC chair is.
Oh, y'all already playing it. Look at that. Y'all already okay. I'm gonna stay off. I'll see y'all.
So you come back on Friday.
No, you'll be back from the clock. You'll be back from the clock.
I will be back on the clock. Well,
you can. That's fine.
Not that many white men tell me what to do, David.
Is messy, and shout out to Black representatives collecting him up in New York.
That's what's up. I want to see. Yeah, indeed. I'm looking forward to that. DJ exclusive.
Look, if anything, I'm gonna be off because All right, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like it or not, it's coming up next. Y'all gonna hear silence for a minute so I can go get coffee because Rebecca's not gonna hold me hostage on my coffee. So y'all hold on, and I'll be back soon, y'all.
She call me crazy, tell me lies. It won't stop me, watch me rise. No more anchors holding me down. So all I need is more. One more hour, one more minute, one more chance for me to win it. Yeah, more. Every time I drink, I catch it. I know how to make it happen, but I want more.
Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, like it or not. Going down next.
You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Pixie on the move. Good to see you. Good morning.
We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show.
Katrina, good morning to you. Thank you for that.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Woo! All right, y'all. I joined the gym and said to the trainer, I want to impress beautiful, beautiful girls. Which machine should I use?
We can take my Lambo.
He said try the ATM outside.
You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Sophia Williams, good morning, Miss Sophia. Hey, Miss Sophia. Six Dragon Daddy, what's going on? Good morning. Finally. Laura Estrada, good morning to you. JD, good morning. Trevor Pickney, what's going on? Mother Gwen, good morning. It Get Her 9.
Can't stop. Can't stop.
Sorry, sir. We don't serve time travelers here. A time traveler walked into a bar. That was it. That was the joke. That was all y'all got. Lady Lou, good morning. Love you too, mama. Carly Wynn, good morning to you. Shay.
just wanna be a mini me. All these niggas just wanna be a mini me.
Ism Onassis, good morning.
Just wanna be a mini me. All these niggas just wanna be a mini me. All these niggas just wanna be a mini me.
Robert Wilson, Buster Be Good, good morning to y'all.
I'm about to go Goku. Leave my head is red like old new. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Couldn't take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, now we don't even know you. Your hometown we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like a show you been killing it just go to. Spiller, the whole man killer. Life so free, can't no man kill him. Came from the bottom was a
Tyler, good morning, Tyler.
man with no fam with them.
JD, yes, UFOs are real.
Survive through the wreckage. Should go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Mr. Memo.
All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go ahead and get this show started.
Yeah.
We had to wait on
Y'all
y'all.
know what time it is. Good morning, y'all.
I had to go ahead and start and delete some stories. My damn
Call
team.
the remix.
Good morning, everybody.
It's time for Like It or Not, y'all. 9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like It or Not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture is we change scan like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like It or Not with Queen Azor, get started now, so stick around.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, Rebecca Azor is coming through. I just invented a telepathically controlled air freshener. For you, oh, makes sense when you think about it. This is his show. He's a politics bro. I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am.
I stay dropping them jams.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not. What do you call a zombie who writes music? Around. Oh, a decomposer. Like it or not, it's starting now. Just so everybody's clear. Like it or not. I want to put my glasses on.
To go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, people.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
It is Wednesday. DJ Exclusive, man. How's it going, man? I feel like I haven't been here in forever. How you been, man?
I'm tired, boss. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You and me both. I'm running on fumes, James. I sound like you're doing the same.
Yeah, you know, working 5,000 jobs. I'm just like, okay, I didn't know if I was gonna get up this morning, but you know, I got on up and got here. But yeah,
Hey,
regular
you know
work,
what?
and then this work, it's just like it's a lot of works that's kicking my ass. I'll say kissing my ass. No, they're kicking my ass. And all up and down the street. Yeah. But it's all right. I'm here.
You told work you told work to kiss your ass, man. I love it, man. I get it, bro. It's a super.
Oh no, I ain't tell work to kiss my ass. I got to keep that job, so I can't tell them that. I just got to shake the table some because there's a lot of stuff going crazy over there. Yeah,
the work in general, not the specific work, but work in general. Yeah. The fact that you got to get up. You told the fact that you got to get up and out of the bed and get dressed and go face the world. You say kiss my ass on it. So I feel you, man.
Yeah.
It get like that. It be like that, man. I was gonna wait. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna say this now, but I want to do a remix too. And I know you've been talking about it. Do you have a new remix to our theme song. Have you been working on one? Because I'm feeling a little prolific with my lyrics these days. I think I might want to jump on the track if you let me.
I have not. I haven't had the mental capacity to work on the song yet. So I wrote down a few things, but yeah, it's just life is just not writer's block severely.
Life is not like it, bro. So I hear that, man. And Rebecca Zora is going to be joining us momentarily. We're giving the queen to take care of what she has to take care of because she too. We're this working class show, bro. People work. We work hours and we work multiple jobs and we do what we have to do. When I got started, I was telling Anoa about the orange, my very first videos on YouTube, they all have this big, bright orange screen in the background. And it was during that time that I was doing the overnight shift at a tech company, coming and do the show in the morning and then keeping the kids in the afternoon. So, but then I look around and everybody's having to live that kind of life now. Everybody's working 3 jobs. Everybody's scratching and surviving. And the gas is too damn high. Listen, I was going to talk about everything you have on this list, David. But can I just say, I know that the gas being this high is not directly Joe Biden's fault, but I want to suggest that Joe Biden gets this thing under control because it's pissing people off. It is definitely pissing me off, man. Every time I got to go to that gas pump, spending $50, $60 to fill up a little coupe. You know what I mean? I ain't even got a truck.
And for the record, the stories are James this morning. So if anyone's going to get upset, it's James.
Oh. Well, I don't mess up the man's stories. You got the stories, bro. I would cease and desist.
We need my man to come back from some years ago. The rent is too damn high, dude. That was running in New York.
Yes, we need him. I've been looking for him. The rent is too damn high.
Too damn high.
And they're raising them higher. Listen, I want to give a couple of headlines here for us to talk about that I think will. There's one I'm gonna wait. That talks about how love changes your brain. I don't know if you picked that one, James. I don't know if we. Oh, okay. All right, we'll jump in. We'll jump into that as well. And then there's another. I don't know. I am trying my best not to rub it in the face of Elon Musk that he is not going to get Twitter. Because, I'm petty. I'm like a Noah. I am petty. And I kind of had a gut feeling I didn't want him to get the deal. Obviously, Twitter being one of the top social media platforms, particularly because I didn't want him to get the deal because I just did not want a single individual to own all of that data. He was going to purchase this and take Twitter back privately, which means he would have full control. There's no accountability when it's a private company, not like for a public company. And that's just too much power to be concentrated in one person's hand. Turns out he's not going to be able to come up with the money. He's blaming it on trolls. And I know this is a pretty old story. Last week they announced this, but it's still developing. The entire industry is trying to see whether or not Elon Musk is going to be able to put his money where his mouth is, quite literally in this case. What do y'all think?
Yes, and Ben, I was about to say there was an update overnight regarding the comments that he made from Twitter. I'm looking for that story right now. But honestly and truly, I really think this was all one of those things of somebody trying to... But you know what? I don't give a damn today. This is somebody that's just trying to swing their dick around. That's all Elon Musk was trying to do. I don't think he was ever going to buy this damn Twitter or any of that. It was just a freaking ploy to do something and waste people's time like he's done now. And now here it is. If he doesn't buy it, now that it's just out there. Now he's trying to figure out who's going to buy it next. And I'm hearing Microsoft may come in and buy it as well too. But it's just like it's so much. I'm like, you're wasting time. You just I said, he's trying to swing his thing around. You don't got to do all that, man. It's just white folk time.
You're already the richest man. You're already the richest man in the world, right? You got to be careful, man. Like, ego will really get you in trouble. You can literally have everything in the world you want. Like, what doesn't Elon Musk have? He has the ability to end world hunger. Yet he chooses to do what he's doing via Twitter. Holler at me, David.
We have a visitor.
Okay. Show me what you're working with. What we got?
But they're on mute also.
Ah, there it is. You know what? I kind of had a suspicion. Good morning to the Queen. Azores in the house.
Aye, wig on.
No. It's Haitian Flag Day, so I was in Jamaica, but it's Haitian Flag Day, so all things Haitian. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a visitor, okay, David, but I am here, and yeah.
Oh Lord. Rebecca, good to see. How was your birthday? How was your trip? It's good to be back with you.
My trip was May.
Uh-oh.
My trip was amazing. I loved it so much. It was just somewhere where I can, what's so crazy? Because it's always a story before I get to Haitian Flag Day and all that good stuff. You know what's so crazy? And hey, Ben, great to see you. Nice background. It looks like you are in a comfortable place. I'm happy to see that. Look like you got a good tan as well. Hey, Bubba, missed you, mean it. Thought about you when I was in Montego Bay. But you know what's so crazy, y'all? For those of you guys who don't know, it is my birthday week. My birthday was on Sunday, but I spent my the weekend before in Montego Bay. And when I went there, it was just from the beginning to end. And it must be, because I am Caribbean, I was able to just hit the floor and just be like, yeah, I know this is, what's up? I know the vibes. But it was just so good to see in a different perspective. I went there with the whole thing of like, not thinking about the show, not thinking about my corporate job, not thinking about, my family, just not thinking about my rent, not thinking about, nothing. I just went there and just said, Rebecca, try. Because it's very hard for me to detach myself from problems. Just like they just be right there. Like you just try to have a happy 5 minutes. And I suffer from anxiety. So my anxiety will just act like there's so many things wrong. So anywho, long story short, got there. People were very just warm. People in the Caribbean are just naturally very warm. And so and very inviting. And so like even when I go to Haiti, people are very, very inviting. So when I went there, they were inviting from the time I got there to the time I got to my hotel. And at my hotel, they gave me the most, it was just luxury from walking in to I got to the hotel. Everybody seems to be born in May in Jamaica. I'm not talking about the tourists. I'm talking about the people that live there. Everybody seems to be born in May in Jamaica. Everyone that I met, they were like, yeah, my birthday was 2 days ago. My birthday was yesterday. My birthday's tomorrow. But the concierge happened to be like, oh my God, Rebecca, treating me like I'm a celebrity. I was like, what's up? Yeah, my name is Rebecca. What's up? He's like, you know what? You already have a nice, you already got a nice view from your room, in a nice room. I'm just going to upgrade you. And you're going to have the largest upgrade. And I'm also going to have a bottle of champagne for you every single, night. And so doorman every single night, champagne. And it just was so beautiful. The food was great. It reminds me, like I said, of Haiti. But it was the fact that the people were just... Every time I spoke to somebody, they gave me bon conseil, like good vibes, good advice. Okay. It was like I'm sitting there and it will be like, you know what, man, I don't want to go home. And they're like, you know what, we'll enjoy where you are right now. Okay, don't read me. And then I'll be like, you know what, I'm not getting drunk from these drinks. That's okay because you're enjoying yourself having drinks so that you can stay in the moment and remember the moment.
Right.
Don't come for me. Like, I just felt like they were just like, Rebecca, enjoy the moment. Live in the moment. It's not meant for you to overindulge in things. It's for you to live in the moment and enjoy it. And I had to really sit there and be like, yeah, Rebecca, you really have to enjoy the moment. There were two American, there was a lot of, at the place that I was at, very quiet, nice. But the place that I was at, a lot of people were coming in to just do content for social media. Okay. So they weren't enjoying the atmosphere, really. They were coming, taking pictures of specific spots and leaving to go like to other specific spots to have that on their social media, which is fine because, I was a tourist too. I was out there looking at stuff, but I realized that they weren't getting to know the people at the hotel. Like the people at the hotel were literally just standing there like wanting you to talk to them, ready to talk, ready to invite you and ready to tell you about so many things, ready to have fun with you, dance with you, just ready to enjoy you. And I was in the pool and I'm like, why isn't anybody in the pool right now? I was looking around. They were fully dressed to go nowhere, to just take pictures by signs. I seen a girl and her boyfriend spent an hour just taking pictures, not enjoy. The beach literally was right there. The pool's right here. They're serving gourmet food. The dudes are the dudes are at the fine service at the bar, just dancing away. There is live reggae music happening right there. Just enjoying, but they're not looking at it at all. And been an hour past, they're still at the entryway trying to get the perfect shot where the sign is. And I'm just looking at them like, dang. So then one of the servers are like, you guys are the only one really enjoying the time and talking to us and dancing with us. And he's like, we're looking at them. They're in everybody's way, trying to come through the door, trying to take a picture, and things like that. And then so the two couples that were at the bar after I came from one of my excursions, the two couple were at the bar. I'm muddied up from my excursion. And I was like, let me go to my room. I don't want to be rude. They're like, girl, sit down, have a drink. A couple came to the bar. They were from Virginia. They are a content creation couple. They were like, oh, they're the ones that be like, we can teach you how to make money. We can teach you how to flip your money. We can teach you how to be a businessman and a businesswoman. LLC Twitter, baby. So they were telling the server who was just telling us, meet me tonight. I'm going to take y'all out, whatever the case may be. He was telling us that. And they walk up and she's like, why y'all ain't got no drinks, man? So she's mocking them. She's mocking them like that. Oh, why y'all ain't got no drinks, man? Y'all drinks ain't strong enough. I like to drink, man. He's like, you don't see a bar full? You don't see a bar full? And then she's like, them not drinks. I like alcohol. Y'all don't got no alcohol. Where the Henny at? Where she's just like going in. And I'm like, I like Hennessy too. But they got Kingston. They got, the whole bar is basically rum. So I'm like, get your rum, get your champagne, you know what I'm saying? Like, get your Red Stripe. Get your Jamaican drinks, you know what I'm saying? But they're yelling. They're like going off on them. And then they say to him, I'll teach you how to make money. In Jamaica, y'all need to learn how to make money. He's like, while he's fixing his drink, he's like, y'all might look at us like we have nothing. But I wake up every morning to views of the beach, mountains, green grass, food that is planted from the earth. Mm-hmm. And I get to come to work because I love to talk to people. I love to meet new people. I love to make drinks for people. And if I'm not feeling well, I won't get in trouble for not coming to work. They will actually call me to check on me and see how I'm doing. You are here telling me how I want to make money. The money isn't what makes me happy, man. The people, the enjoyment of life. Usually you hear that as a quote on Instagram and you be like, whatever. But when I listened to him and I saw the man was genuine and he just continued to make my drink, her boyfriend yells at him, y'all need a Walmart. Y'all need just yelling. Y'all need a Walmart. I need something with this hotel was literally on a strip where everything was. Like, where just things you can go out, go to the market, go do this, all that stuff. And they just, y'all need a Walmart. Y'all need this, y'all need that. And he looked at him and said, there's a lot of, and then y'all ain't got, what kind of shoes y'all got? Because they had Yeezy. Y'all ain't got Yeezy foams. Y'all ain't got this Lord. And that. He's literally saying this, yelling at the server. And the server just looks at him and says, well, where do you get your shoes from? Online? He's like, well, we do too. I don't know what you're asking me for. I go online to get my shoes too. If I don't know what the difference is. And then I asked the guy, I just looked over. I said, well, where do you get your shoes? Is it StockX? He's like, yeah, I like to go on StockX. I said, well, you didn't see that recently StockX actually, it was in the news for actually selling fake shoes.
Yep.
And he was like, anyways, and then my server was like, again, and she's like, I like to get drunk. And he looked at her, he said, ma'am, women here don't like to get drunk. They like to drink to have a good time. It is unbecoming for a woman to be falling out and throwing up at a party. So he looks at her, he's like, y'all like that fake over-processed drinking, over-processed weed, over-processed partying, over-processed everything. We like the vibes. Y'all like fake asses. Y'all like fake this, fake that. We like the vibes. I had to look at him and say, when it comes to women's bodies, though, don't say all of that. A woman can do whatever they want with their body. But the woman turned around to walk away. A bug's life. A bug's
Rebecca
life.
Azor. I'm done. I'm done with you now. I'm done with you.
It was a good time, y'all. It was an amazing time. I actually had the best time. There was not one moment that I did not like. It was just going there to unwind. Good. As soon as I got on they wanted me to stay longer. They were like, stay longer. And understandably so, that's how they make their money. 75% of Jamaicans make their money in the tourism business. Unfortunately, that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
So, the more tips you give, the better they are. But people were so genuine, from the horseback riding where I almost died in the water, from me climbing Dunn's River Falls, where a lady was smoking that high THC stuff because she got it. She didn't like the natural stuff from Jamaica. A lot of people said it wasn't getting them high. So they had a section where the Jamaicans were like, y'all can, yeah, exactly. A lot of Jamaicans, they were like, y'all can get the stuff. They actually had an area for the American side where they can get the stuff that's, the high THC processed stuff. They're like, go ahead and smoke that. The lady was smoking it. We went to Dunn's River Fall. She got so high, y'all. I had a video of it. She got so high on the Dunn's River Fall. We were going up, climbing up. This lady turned around to say some slick stuff to the Jamaicans. I don't know what was up with people trying to be rude to the Jamaicans. I didn't like that. But she turned around to say something rude. Yeah, she turned around to say something rude. That lady ended up falling, rolling down, flipping over. And then she said, that's how you don't do it.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
All off
she was just bruised up, but she got up and just climbed, and the Jamaican men carried her. They picked her up. She brought her. Oof, it was crazy. I did zip lining. And I was naked half the time. And then we did one where we got on the bamboo rafting, and they massage you with the limestone that's inside of the Lighthearted, I think it's called, river. And they take the limestone from the wall and they massage your legs. That man was massaging me. He said, does your man do you like that? I said, no. Ain't got no mean. What's up? Hey. My legs haven't been smoother. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. My legs have not been smoother. It was a vibe, man. It was just a good time. It was just
glad you got a break.
It was beautiful. Yeah, and I'm glad I did too. I got back on that plane and I actually felt really bad for leaving. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave at all. But yeah, it was really good. Yeah. You guys talk amongst yourself while I go get my charger. I apologize. Talk amongst yourself.
That's why I love Jamaica so much. It's not for the resort, but it's for the people. The people make the experience of Jamaica like 1,000 times better, because just talking to them and learning about their culture and why they do certain things, how they do certain things, is just like, damn, I hate America. It's just like, once you talk to them, they like our tour guide when we were going to and from the resort. But stop on the side of the road. We going up mountains and cliffs, randomly stop on the side of a road, get lemongrass, pull lemongrass straight off the tree, pulling just natural remedies and stuff that they do. And it was just like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, bro, I don't even want to go back to America. Just let me stay here and I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'm going to go back. I'm definitely going to go back.
Dang it, how my camera died at the same time?
I don't walked away and went to go get my stuff.
Wait a minute. Both of us went out at the same time. That's amazing.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it was a good time. So thank you for everybody who really celebrated me. Thank you for everybody who cash at me. It's never too late. Cash at Becca's I'm celebrating my birthday all week since it was on Sunday. But thank you to everyone who really and Letterhack. Actually, I wanted to talk about
shout out to
him going live in honor of me for my birthday. That was so kind. That was so sweet. That was unexpected. And him making it.
Do we have the pictures from that? Do we have the pictures from?
Well, I will. There's a lot happening.
I'll have it for tomorrow.
There's a lot happening on the live right now. He's adjusting all of us at the same moment, but
yeah, we we had a technical glitch there. Both two cameras went out at the same time, and one of them came back. So,
but Letterhack actually he drew me, and it was just so, like I said, unexpected. I happened to check in while I was in Montego Bay, and just seeing him, and hearing him talk about me, and him just drawing me, it was beautiful. He took one of my pictures that I took in Florida as inspiration, but it's like he took some culture from. I gotta find the picture because I saved it and I'll send it. But he took some of my Haitian culture features and put it in there. I look like a Haitian mummy, mummy means a mama, but I look like a Haitian, somebody that was back in the revolutions knitting that flag, and ripping that middle part from France for our freedom, knitting that flag or making the soup, for everybody to eat. It just looks beautiful. It looks like I'm channeling my ancestors in that photograph. And it was just so beautiful. I don't even know if you knew that it was Haitian Flag Day today, Letterhack, or that it was Haitian Heritage Month, but that means everything to me, that photo. I need it. He did send it to me. I'm going to have it plaqued and put it on my wall, but it was really, really, really beautiful. So shout out to Letterhack for that. I really appreciate it.
Shout out to Letterhack. That is a phenomenal brother, super talented and doing some great things.
Yeah. Yeah, he called in yesterday too. We had a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
I heard.
Yeah. A lot of people called in yesterday. Shout out to everybody that called in yesterday and held me down while my two co-hosts were not here. But it's okay. Yeah. We held it down. We did our damn thing yesterday.
No, I knew that you would hold it down. I knew that you would hold it down. That's why we.
And then the two mother suckers on the screen ain't even watch the goddamn show. That's all right though. I love y'all. I mean it.
No, I actually did check into the show, but I went to sleep because I had a long flight. So I actually did check in. That's how I knew that Letterhack was on the show. But I actually seen that you guys were holding it down, and that's good that you guys can hold it down when we're not here. That's the point of it all. So we're able to hold it down when none of us are here. But anywho, there was a lot of bad news happening, and I ain't like that when I returned to America. I did not like that. I didn't like it at all. It made me very, very depressed. I made it intentionally so that I did not log on to social media. I did not read anything while I was over there. But as soon as I landed, it was just nastiness all around. I had a conversation with someone last week or 2 weeks ago, where somebody was going back and forth with me about, and this is going to tie into what I'm going to say about the recent events. And you guys could help me unpack that because I don't know too much about it. I chose not to really focus on the details of it, but more so on the victims of that recent terrorist attack. But last week I had a conversation with somebody who had trouble understanding why T.I., who I don't often agree with, but why T.I. would say, with Young Thug going in for the RICO Act, there are a lot of KKK people, members of the KKK, or groupings of the KKK, white nationalists, who have still yet, and that is a hate group, have still yet to be charged for any of their crimes, killing black people, going into towns and burning them, setting them on fire. Group of people who are connected. And he told me, and the guy that said, why are people posting this? Why are black people are never gonna move forward thinking like this? And I'm like, I get where you're coming from, but I don't think you understand what's being said here. So I try to break it down to him, and I'm like, the KKK is a hate group. RICO will definitely get anybody involved. That's why they use it, especially for gangs. Anybody involved together, doing business for, just all of that in one. They will get anybody involved that's aligned. You could be a doctor, but because you were aligned with this person during this part of the crime or when the crime was done, you too can be under that, could be convicted of it. So here we are. So I'm trying to get him to understand. So I see where the similarities happen, here. It's like, nah, it's 2022. Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't no hate groups for white people.
I'm sorry?
I said every day I cover a hate group. Just if you don't go remember anything, remember this one. You don't remember what happened on January 6th? You don't remember all those different groups of people coming from different states representing different white nationalist groups in the name of Donald Trump, in the name of whiteness? claiming that, white people are being washed away because black people are taking seats at the White House. You don't remember that? Those are hate groups. Those groups of people come from people who have killed black people or from people recently who have killed black people. This is still happening. That was last week's conversation. Saying, I'll wait till you name me a recent one. I started naming recent ones. These shootings are recent. These are happening daily. They're part of hate groups online. They are literally online telling you, I said this last week, telling you exactly how they're going to kill you in groups, Facebook groups, all over the internet, lives. I said this last week, only to come back to the States and see that somebody, a white boy, planned a murder, planned a mass murder, planned a terrorist attack against specifically black people. Planned it online. Everyone knew it was going to happen. Those people that follow him, those people that are all online, that look at his stuff, watched it. Those people watched it with joy. The comment section with people telling him where to go, who to shoot. All online. And people died just for being black. And you're telling me there aren't people in this world that are in hate groups that live to kill black people with the mindset that black people are a problem and are going to wash away white people and their jobs and their living and their communities. Black just happens to be wrong. And seeing that happen from people who were just going to the store because it was date night and they wanted to get some food to eat for date night. People who were everyday people who were doing good for people just happened to be in that store. A woman who ran a food pantry every week. A woman who ran a food pantry, she did not deserve to die. This is where we are in 2022. So nobody ever come at me again and check me about what hate crime should look like and how black people should be the face of hate crimes only, how black gangs are the face of hate crimes. White nationalists, KKK, they go by different names. They have different job titles, doctors, lawyers, literally your neighbor, people who are sitting representation of us in the White House or in the Senate, House of Representatives, Congress, all of this. That's where they at. Those are hate groups as well. We got Joe Biden making his statements saying that white supremacy is bad, white supremacy is poison. I would love to hear him say that America is racist. White supremacy shouldn't be happening, but is happening, and we're going to hit it head on. White supremacy is a hate crime. There is a hate crime, and if we identify that white supremacy is a hate crime, then we can say that America is racist.
I took extra time off because of that. And Dwayne, I'm sorry, I had to make an adjustment on my phone here. I'm the culprit here this morning, everybody. I'm the odd man out. But I had to do, for the same reasons that you're talking about, Rebecca, I had to intentionally take a step away. I didn't know that one particular part, that he had people in the comment section cheering him on and telling him what to do. I've been trying to stay away from the story as much as I can, because you get to the point where you can't talk about it anymore, right? Just like there's nothing to talk about at this point, except for I think about the paper that I was writing for. I was writing for an online article company. I don't want to say their name, but I probably will. And I was writing for them during the George Floyd protests. And they loved it. They were like, they always want, not George Floyd, during the election. Let me get it right. During the election, they loved it. They wanted me to talk about anything I wanted to during the election. After they killed George Floyd, they asked me to write about it. And I only had one thing to say. Black people need to defend themselves. And, they didn't publish me. They wouldn't publish. That's the last time I ever heard from them. They never They never even replied to any more of my emails after that, except for saying that they couldn't publish something telling Black people to arm themselves. And my question is, like, literally, what do you expect folks to do at this point? Because if this country is incapable of stopping it, then we have the right to defend ourselves, and we have the right to appeal to the United Nations as a matter of human rights violations. Because at this point, anybody who doesn't want to see it, it's only because they don't want to see it, not because they can't see it. They don't want to see everything that you just said was there.
Yeah, and it really broke my heart. I was talking to my best friend. I said, I can't even go. I didn't even read this story at that time when I was talking to her. I had literally just got out of the airport and was making my way home. And I'm like, I didn't even read it, but I know exactly what happened. That's how normalized it is in America.
That's right. That's right. We knew the kind of gun he was going to use.
We knew exactly.
It was going to be an AR-15. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We knew he was going to be a white young man, teenager, young man. He's going to be white. We knew you can profile. We literally can take an episode of Criminal Minds, all the stuff they have folks watching on TV all the time. Take CSI, take Criminal Minds, and get a profile of your unsub. Here is your mass shooter unsub. It's a virgin incel white boy who's frustrated because he ain't getting everything he sees on TV. He thinks he's entitled to it because he sees it on TV, and he wants to take it out on everybody he can't control. That's the profile.
Yeah.
Their parents probably don't connect with them. They got guns. I mean, we know who they are. It's like you don't have... You know if little Timmy is going downstairs with these guns. The store owners know who you're selling these guns to. You know they got the bowl cut. They all got the bowl cut. They all got a certain look in their eye. Let me stop.
No, they do. They all got this certain look in their eye. And that's why when we go to the store... When we go to the store, imagine going to the store, Ben, right now, just going to get something for somebody, going to get something for yourself, making sure that you're getting groceries to make sure that your household has it. You're just stopping by the store, your everyday store with you every day, your everyday store, minding your business. And because you are Black in America, somebody just feels like they can come up to you and take your life.
Yeah.
The fact that this is normalized.
And the fact that the news is, while they're still covering it, it's not, we cannot get used to this. Let me rephrase that. We're not. White America, you may get used to this, but I'm going to tell you something. We're going to secure the tribe. We're not asking y'all we're not asking y'all no more. We're going to take care of ourselves because apparently America doesn't know how to take care of itself, let alone its citizens of African descent.
What's crazy is the responses to this. And again, I didn't have to read much. I just could read one tweet from the left and one tweet from the right. The right saying, this was a troubled boy with mental issues. It ain't take 2 seconds for them to start coming out with that rhetoric, with that understanding. All you got to do is turn on Fox News and you will see and hear that this was a troubled boy who didn't even reach his peak. He's still a teenager. All of this and that, they can move forward with that. We need to go to a commercial break. We're going to go to a commercial break so we can fix all of this stuff that's going on. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna take you on a ride. We're gonna burn for the night. Why you so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay, we can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? Way to be faster than Django.
So salty, I'll still take a bite.
We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Kiss, I won't stop.
right, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back momentarily here. But a few technical difficulties, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop. You sure you can handle? Okay. We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight jacket. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop. Can't stop.
Today is a brand new day. I'm gonna start a scene. Someone deeper than the past. Something I'm about to lose. I don't feel okay. Moving on, my memories of you. Getting weaker by the day. Till eventually they're through. Hold on. Keep going on strong like a soldier. I was drunk with love, now I'm sober. So I can't help saying that I told you, I'm sober, I'm sober, I'm sober, I'm sober, I'm sober, I'm sober. This time, it looked tough, it was only to the end. Making love, did you love? And I was just to pretend. You would teach me all it's easy. We were more than just good friends. Something deep within the soul. Feeling that I'm never gonna see again. Feeling that I'm never gonna see again. You were free, nothing tight. Got me waking up for more. You and me, summer nights. Lying naked on the floor. It's like your place. We have time and space. Feel like we had it all.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen. Rebecca Azor.
Just wanna look it for. Just wanna look it for.
Look at Ben.
I really hate that avatar.
It's I like it. I don't like when it just be there every day, but I like it though. It's a good one.
It's creepy as hell.
Look, it looks like he looks like himself. This looks just like him.
Right.
But Ben, are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just listening to David describe me as creepy.
It's not creepy. It's not creepy. But I mean, you know, there's a lot that we can unpack here. Like I was saying before the break, welcome to Like It. Welcome back to Like It or Not. I actually wanted to do the intro in Creole, but we'll do the exit in Creole. But to hear the left side talk about gun rights, gun protection, all that stuff. It's an important conversation to continue that conversation as well. But we've been having it for so long. Every time this happens, and this happens more often than not,
yeah,
that's all we can stand on. As much as I don't me on the side of where I stand on, I don't like guns. I don't think that everybody should have access to them either. I don't think that they should be easily attained. I don't like it. I don't like it. However, in times like this, it's like, I gotta go to the gun range. I gotta start keeping one on me. Mm-hmm. So crazy. I gotta keep one on me. But seriously, that's how we have to live our lives, with guns in the household and things like that, to protect ourselves, because there are crazies out here that just because you wake up black, just because you are black, just because you were born this way, they hate you. They'll kill you. To this day, this has been and that's why I say, if we can say that white supremacy is the issue, white supremacy is how America thrives. White supremacy is what keeps America moving and thinking that they are the strongest in the world. It's white supremacy. We got laws that we're trying to fight every day that we can't because white supremacy keeps them going.
That's right.
We are still saying the first black or the first something outside of it being white because white damn supremacy. We're having to tell our babies, we can't. I know you want to wear that hoodie, but you can't wear that hoodie walking home from school because white supremacy. I know you want to get that BB gun, but you can't get that water gun or that BB gun because white supremacy.
It would be a death sentence in some cases. It's crazy. It's crazy the nuances of ways we have to protect ourselves and our family from white supremacy. When you say water guns, it's just a constant effort on our side to keep toy guns and water guns away from our boys. Just constant effort.
Yeah. Yep. This is where we are with it now. And then that's the left's conversation. And you got the right who will blatantly sit in your face and say, I know it looks like he went in there to murder people, but he actually went in there to go and purchase groceries. He just had a bad day. We have the proof. We have it on video. It was a skilled, detailed, premeditated murder attack, terrorist attack. But y'all sit here on air and say that this was a mental breakdown for a well-raised white boy who hasn't peaked in his who hasn't become an adult just yet, who hasn't mentally, his brain, and they started talking about how the brain cells work, and they were saying he hasn't even hit an age where his brain cells are fully functional. But he was able to go online, premeditate this attack, this murder spree, talk about what he's going to use, allegedly engrave words like NIGGER on the tool, in the barrel. This is the two conversations that are happening here. Then you got Joe Biden taking and saying white supremacy is poison. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, it's poison and what? Because I remember when COVID happened and there was a lot of Asian attacks happening, and you guys definitely went forward to put that Asian hate crime bill into place while we were still protesting in the streets for George Floyd. And Vice President Kamala Harris took the mic and said that America is not racist. While we were outside during COVID-19, protesting so that those things wouldn't happen to us. Protesting that we would get at least a hate crime law that protect African Americans, black people, period. Ben Crump was out there saying it must be done today. We've been talking about this on the show for a minute. Murder after murder after murder after murder of black people at the hands of white folks. They don't have to be a police officer. It could be a 17-year-old boy that woke up and decided he don't like black people. Murder after murder after murder. These are hate crimes. Why isn't there something in play to protect us? I'm glad the Asians got something they deserve. Why isn't something in play for black people in America when we know we are the most hunted down minority but the most hunted down. Why hasn't Joe Biden said, enough is enough, we're putting this down right now? We're doing it today. We're putting it down right now. This is what I want. I'm tired. The new press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, you know, she took the new pulpit, the press secretary pulpit, and was discussing how she's the first, you know, black gay immigrant female also to take this to take this position, and it's great. You know, she's a product of immigrants, Haitian, Karine Jean-Pierre, and I'm happy that she's there, and I'm happy that she was able to just talk about, you know, America's history and talk about barriers that wouldn't allow her to be in her position. We can, if we got that speech, we could play it. I think that's the video that you wanted us to play, David, before the show ends.
I am obviously acutely aware that my presence at this podium represents a few firsts. I am a black gay immigrant woman, the first of all three of those to hold this position. I would not be here today if it were not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me. I stand on their shoulders. If it were not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me, I would not be here. But I benefit from their sacrifices. I have learned from their excellence, and I am forever grateful to them. Representation does matter. You hear us say this often in this administration, and no one understands this better than President Biden.
I'm gonna agree with it. You know what I'm saying? It's Haitian Heritage Month, and it's Haitian Flag Day, so I'm gonna go light on you. Okay? Because we're not gonna do that on Haitian Heritage Month. We're not gonna do that on Haitian Flag Day. I would never disrespect you. You up there doing the work of the Lord. I'll say this. We'll focus on you being the first of many. You actually breaking barriers. You actually taking Haitian representation at the highest, one of the highest levels in America. You acknowledge that. A lot of people who took that, who were standing where she was right now, couldn't acknowledge any of those things. First, because they couldn't relate. They couldn't relate. Second, because they had to follow the political talking points. I'm glad that she was able to say that, because that's more than a lot of the people who take that position say. I know that when you take that stand, this is what I was saying, it's going to be hard for her, because when you represent the president of the United States, when you're their mouthpiece, you can't just dog them out like that, you know? But I'll be the one to say it. Joe Biden, no, he's not the one to really focus on that. Yeah, you could hire any black person. It's given diversity and inclusion. There's about 3 people on that team that's holding the whole White House down. 3 black folks that's holding the whole White House down to talk about diversity and inclusion. Right.
Simone Sanders is out of there.
Out of there.
I had a chance to meet, how do you pronounce her first name again? Karine Pierre. I met her in South Carolina a couple years back. She's sharp. Like, obviously, like I know her work, but she was a really dope person to meet. She was really cool. Yeah, absolutely. To have a Haitian person here in this position, she has the whole weight of the world on her back right now. The weight of America issues on her back. This is what black folks be doing. That white girl said, I had enough. It's been a year, a hard one. I'm out of here. Let's get a black person. It'll be nice to get them on there. They can handle it. It's great that she has this position. I told y'all, I can't wait to see what she's going to do. She's already said a lot than a lot of these people can or have who've taken that who stood right there have said. I know it could be nerve-wracking, her having to even start off like this, and she's what was given to her was a bag full of shit. Excuse my French, but that's what was given to her when the other person said, I'm out of here. Okay? So
having to be the mouthpiece for Joe Biden, who actually just has talking points. Talking points aren't going to do anything for you. Just saying that white supremacy is poison. You are a product of white supremacy, Joe Biden. I'm sorry to say that. I need you to, acknowledging these things, and then being an ally with us, that matters, because you said you'd be an ally for Haitians, right? And we see how that came about. You said you'd be an ally for students, right, who had so much loan debt, and we see what that looked like. You said you'll be an ally for people who were suffering with COVID, who are afraid of COVID, and we see what that looks like now. Just saying things because it sounds good in the moment, but knowing that down the line you are only going to stick to your political friends and what they want, not what the constituents want, and not the promises that you made to the people. It's not enough for us in 2022. It won't be enough for us in the next few years either if you plan on being reelected. It's not going to be enough. It's not. Colleen, I do understand that you got to be his mouthpiece and you got to protect him. I get it. You can't just take a position for somebody and just go off the rails, but I like how she's starting off, though. I appreciate it. I love it. I love that she's a representation of so many different things. Immigrants, she's a representation of a black woman. She's a representation of the people from LGBTQIA community. She's a representation. And having to stand up there and fight all of them battles is crazy, because there's a lot of oppression going on for each group.
Yeah. Yep. No, but I know she's going to handle it with grace. I agree with you. One thing I do, it's hard to see people who you want to stand up and do the right thing just all the way across the board all the time. You want to see them to stand up and say the truth, 100%, no spin. I want that for her. I want her to be able to get up there and never have to spin something for Joe Biden. But unfortunately, that's literally her job now. Mm-hmm. That's her job now.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is her job. Yep. And I'll say this. Oh, yeah, we're at the end of the show. And I'll say this towards, the end of the show. I just want you guys to really focus on your mental health. It's hard for us right now. It's been hard for us for a very long time. I'm glad that we can vocalize how hard it is for everybody. When traumatic events like this happen, if you need to step away from social media, if you need to turn off the news and listen to some music and think about some good things and just sit outside. We only have one life to live. That's what they told me. You only have one life to live, man. Live it. You got one life to live, child. Live it. Because this is our job that we have to talk about daily and we have to focus on. Of course, we're going to bring you what's happening. But if you feel like this is too heavy, feel free to turn us off as well. Feel free to turn the media off. If these conversations get to be a bit much, feel free to take a moment for yourself. I ain't telling you to quit your job. That's not what I said. That's not what I ain't say. Don't go into the office. That's not what I said. Okay? But if you can, take some time off. If you can ask your manager, your supervisor, if you can send an email, let them know you need some time. A lot is happening that is affecting us as black people every single damn day. We need a break.
Facts.
All right, y'all. So, thank you for watching Like It or Not. We have so much more for the week coming up. Thank you, Bubba, for holding it down when we weren't here. Thank you, Ben, for coming back and showing yourself. I was happy to see you. I hope that everything is going good with you. I'm happy. I'm happy that you were here. I hope that you, everything is going good on your side. Everything is aligning for you, Bubba. I hope that you have a great week. Dwayne, you didn't say much. You didn't clown me much. But I hope everything is going good for you in the background. I'm sorry we gave you such a hard time today. It was a lot happening. It was a lot of movement. Yeah. It was, and I apologize.
That was me. That wasn't you this time, Rebecca. It was me.
Because usually it'd be me. And I know he'll run his mouth if it was me.
Ben. Let her apologize. This doesn't ever happen. I don't ever get this. So just let her go.
And I'm done. And for everyone, it is Haitian Flag Day. It is Haitian Flag Day. Okay, so I said I was going to do the intro in Creole. So. Bienvenue à Like It or Not, côté nous libre pour ba ou vérité a. Deske ou remel ou sinon pas remel. Zafek kadeo. I love you guys so much. Go enjoy. Drop the Haitian flags in the comment section. It is my birthday week. I'm celebrating all week, so tomorrow is going to be a celebration too. I love you guys so much. Go enjoy yourselves. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
I'ma have you on tiptoes, watching my diamond.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all again for tuning in this morning to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Y'all go be great and have an awesome day. In your affirmation, I remind myself of what I have overcome. I remind myself of what I have overcome. Love y'all. Mean it. Gonna be great. See y'all tomorrow. Deuces.
Good at what I do. I'm OMW. On my way, on my way. They wanna judge me, I'll testify. Catch me on Insta, I'm verified. They want me quiet, I amplify. I'm on my way to the best thing that you've ever seen. You know that you bow to the queen.